All right, moving on. Facebook has been accused of misleading British lawmakers. The social media giant has been accused of downplaying the risk of user data being shared without their consent. The head of the British Parliament's Media Committee and Conservative lawmaker Damian Collins says he will ask Facebook chief Mark Zuckerberg or another executive to appear before his committee, which is investigating disinformation and fake news. Collins says Facebook has consistently understated the risk of data leaks and given misleading answers to the committee. Collins further says that someone has to take responsibility for this and that it's time Zuckerberg stopped hiding behind his Facebook page.
Well, I'm going to be writing to Mark Zuckerberg asking that either he or another top executive at the company give evidence to the committee to make clear what Facebook knew about this breach of their users' data, why they didn't take action against Cambridge Analytica sooner, and why they've not informed the users whose data was taken. And the reason it's important to us to ask those questions is we asked very similar questions the last time Facebook gave evidence to the committee. They were unable to provide satisfactory answers then, or to follow up with the written information that we required. And people will rightly have concerns about how effective Facebook are at protecting their users from bad actors gaining their data. I don't think Facebook was straight with us. Facebook have known about this data breach for over 2 years. They did nothing to make sure that the data that was taken was destroyed properly as they requested it should be done.
Right, my colleague Mohammed Saleh joins me from the WION newsroom. Good morning, Mohammed, if you're still with me. Now, Facebook has been accused of misleading British lawmakers. How serious do you think this so-called data breach or data leak is all about?
Well, good morning to you, Ramesh. Now, this is, of course, a serious allegation. Now, remember, Facebook has been at the center of a storm over breach of data for a long time now. Now, what they are in fact speaking about is the manner in which data that is uploaded by users voluntarily on Facebook, can Facebook share it with other third parties? There are several terms of agreements which are signed by the user at the time that they actually sign up to Facebook. Now, not a lot of the fine print is actually read by the users. And this data, let's put it this way. The soundbite that we just heard spoke about bad actors getting hold of data. It is not just bad actors who are interested in the data of the people, but also big corporations, governments, companies that would like to sell stuff to you, people and big corporates would like to manipulate your likes, your dislikes, your purchasing habits, and what you do in life in general to try and manipulate that for their personal gain. Now, this is what we are talking about, and this is, of course, a very serious charge, something which not just Facebook, but other social media sites where people actively and voluntarily, give information, in fact, resort to. Now, there are several interesting cases in this case. If I could just touch upon an interesting, another case which has exploded of sorts in the United States, where the heart of the controversy is another data mining company by name Cambridge Analytica, which during the 2016 presidential campaign of Donald Trump was in fact headed by the close aide of Donald Trump, Steve Bannon, which is said to have accessed the data of 50 million Facebook users. Now, these figures are absolutely mind-boggling. Now, data was actively mined. Data such as on the basis of just random likes, which people keep out doling every time they log on to these social media sites. Their pattern, their behavior, their sexual orientation, their political affiliation. This was the sort of information that was actually, scrounged through and gathered by this company to bring about remarkable changes in the behavior of people as to how they would behave in the real world. Now, these are serious allegations with long-term, real-life consequences that we're talking about, Ramesh.
Right, and very quickly, Mohammed, a fundamental question here. Was all this data obtained legally or illegally?
All right, now this is, something which Facebook has been talking about because if you look at the laws of privacy, these social media sites, they have emerged in the last 1 decade. Not a lot of the rules are already in place and not most of them are clearly defined. Even in India, this is something that is in fact being debated upon. how much of data that individuals put out there can companies actually get legally and illegally, because the line which differentiates between the data that is already out there in public domain and how much of it can be accessed is not very clearly defined. Now, in this case, in Cambridge Analytica, the stuff that we're talking about is stuff that people have put out in the public domain. When people choose to put their stuff out, on social media platforms, this is out there for people to use. And if a company which is pretty smart in the way that they create algorithms, now this is not about, pretty good sleuthing that we're talking about, but this is computer-generated programs that look, monitor for likes, dislikes, and also patterns which people develop. Just to give a small quick example, if let's say an individual goes on to social media, the Facebook page, and likes, let's say, a page of a certain political party, you clearly know as to which way the person in fact sways in his political affiliations. Now, this is the sort of data that was in fact mined and used by Cambridge Analytica with great effect, it appears, in the 2016 presidential election.
Right, on that note, Mohammed Saleh, thank you so much for joining me with all that information.